Today, we're talking about Lyudmila Pavlichenko. Her name became legendary during World War II, and for good reason. She was one of the most formidable soldiers of the entire conflict. But here's the thing. Her story didn't start on a battlefield. It started in a university lecture hall.
Everything really begins with this one number, 309. And that number, well, that's what made her a legend. It's a number that struck absolute terror into the hearts of her enemies on the Eastern Front.
So what does that number mean? It means 309 confirmed kills. That doesn't just make her the most successful female sniper in history. It makes her one of the deadliest snipers ever. Period.
Her enemies had a crude name for her, but to the rest of the world, she became known as Lady Death. So you gotta ask, right? How on earth does a young university student from the Soviet Union turn into that?
To really get it, we have to go back to the beginning. See, Pavlichenko wasn't a born soldier, not at all. She was a fiercely competitive young woman, a self-described tomboy who had a deep, deep passion for history.
I mean, you look at her early life, and it seems pretty normal. Born in 1916, she was married with a son by 1932, and in 1937, she's enrolled at Kyiv University, ready to study history. But then, 1941 happened. Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union, and at 25 years old, she walked right into a recruitment office.
And that's really the core of it, isn't it? Her entire plan was to be a scholar, maybe a teacher. The battlefield was the absolute furthest thing from her mind. And it's that wild contrast between what she dreamed of and what she became that makes her story so powerful. Her determination was just off the charts from day one. At the recruiting office, they see a woman and, they offer her a job as a nurse. Pavlichenko? No way! She'd already earned a sharpshooter badge at a local shooting club, and she demanded to be put in the infantry as a sniper. And she got her wish. She became one of about 2,000 female snipers in the Red Army. But the odds, they were just brutal. Only about a quarter of them, just 500 women, would survive the war. So, the university days were officially over. Her new classroom? The brutal Eastern Front. And it was right here, in the heat of combat, that Lyudmila the student was forged into Lady Death, the sniper.
Her very first major test was the siege of Odessa. And in just 2.5 months of absolutely grueling fighting, she was credited with 187 kills. It was clear she was a natural, a prodigy on the battlefield.
But Odessa was just the beginning. After it fell, her unit was evacuated by sea, sent straight into what will become the most famous chapter of her story, the hellish, year-long siege of Sevastopol.
But war, it always takes a personal toll, doesn't it? In Sevastopol, she fought alongside her husband, another sniper named Alexei Kitsenko. He was hit by a mortar shell and died in her arms. The war had given her this incredible new purpose, and then it just took everything from her. Fueled by that grief and a resolve that was just hardened into steel, she fought on. By the end of her time in Sevastopol, her official tally was an incredible 309 confirmed kills. And get this, that total included 36 enemy snipers, some of the most skilled and dangerous opponents you could possibly face.
But her time on the front lines was coming to a very abrupt end. An injury would pull her out of combat and throw her onto a completely different kind of battlefield, the international stage.
It all happened so fast. In June of '42, she was wounded by shrapnel. Suddenly, her value as a hero had become too great to risk losing her, so the Soviet High Command ordered her to be evacuated immediately, by submarine. After she recovered, she was given a new mission. She was no longer a sniper, she was a spokeswoman, a living symbol of Soviet resistance. This new job sent her on a world tour: Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The goal was to rally support for a second front in Europe. But for this battle-hardened sniper, what she ran into was, well, let's just call it a major culture shock.
I mean, this was a huge deal. She became the first Soviet citizen ever to be received by a U.S. president at the White House. You can see her here with First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, and the two of them actually struck up this really unlikely and lasting friendship.
But the American press, they just didn't know what to make of her. They called her the girl sniper and asked her the most frankly ridiculous, sexist questions. I mean, they were obsessed with her appearance, asking about makeup and the length of her skirt, just trivializing the grim reality she had just come from.
Well, Pavlichenko got tired of it fast. Speaking to this huge crowd in Chicago, she just put the reporters and the politicians in their place with this one blistering statement. Her words, delivered with this cold fury, just silenced the crowd. And then, an absolute roar of support. Yeah, she had made her point. After that tour, Pavlichenko never returned to combat. But her story? Oh, it was far from over. Her life after the war is what really cemented her legacy, transforming her from a soldier into a true, enduring national symbol.
And this is the part I love. Her life came full circle. The young woman who put her history degree on hold to go fight for her country, she finally went back to Kyiv University. The one-time subject of history became its chronicler, fulfilling that original dream to become a scholar.
Her transformation was complete. You can really see it here. From a young soldier on a mission to a national hero, immortalized on this Soviet postage stamp after her death. She had become a permanent part of the history she once just studied.
And her incredible story is still captivating people today. I mean, it's been told in a song by the American folk legend Woody Guthrie, in movies, in her own memoirs. She's even inspired characters in video games. Her legacy is woven into the fabric of popular culture.
Which leaves us with this one final thought. Lyudmila Pavlichenko wanted to study history, but war forced her to make it instead. Her life is this powerful testament to how extraordinary circumstances can forge an ordinary person into an absolute legend. So what is it that turns a historian into history itself?